Starting on row 3, there's the gap alongside the black and yellow TVR. We're on row 2 with Rob, who's in the pole, sitting GTO car. Lights on the starting gantry go green. 60 minutes gets underway, and the 3 black GT cars out front thunder away. Riding with Tim Sugden right ahead, Kelvin Burt to undo some of the damage that was wrought in qualifying. And that battle for GTO honours right behind the silver GT2 Porsche. And look at the orange car down the inside. Matt Turner, Glory trying to lead of GTO. He's inside the silver Porsche. He's got the lead. Rob Barth in the green and blue TVR in the middle. 3 abreast coming down to the first chicane. Ben, this should be fun.
It should be. A little Rob Barth make contact with Matt Turner as they come through the S's, and Barth all sideways gets it together. Great from Tim Sugden. And look at Kelvin Burt down on the inside.
Yes, takes back 7th place. Cut and thrust up here as David Jones gets on the exit of the corner. Leaders stretching away. Turner passing the GT2 Porsche, and down the inside, Tim Sugden takes 7th back from Kelvin Burt. David Jones there, he's lost 2 places with that little sideways moment earlier on.
The battle seems to be in the GTOs at the moment. Up front, it's not quite the same battle. Bobby Verdon-Roe has control of this race in the TVR Speed 12. The Viper in second, the Lister Storm in third.
And Matt Turner easing away. The G Porsche is a bit of a stopper. Kelvin Burt now still chasing Tim Sugden. Gets a good drive out of Camp Corner. Look at almost running into the back of Tin Top Tim. Rob Barth, his next target. There is Barth. He's behind the GT2 Porsche as well. Jonathan Rowland struggling with that car. On board with Sugden now. Down to Quarry, looking for the inside line. No, Kelvin's got it, so Tim will cut in and try and take the inside line on the way out. Can't do that, but they're all queuing up behind this slower silver GT car.
Yes, and now it's trying to defend a little bit into not too much. Kelvin Burt gets through safely, and now Tim Sugden's trying past the Porsche.
Well, Tim needs to hurry up. Richard Stanton away from the grid in the black and yellow TVR Tuscany, chasing him away. But look, the GT2 car, Ben, has got more power in a straight line, even though it's not as nimble.
That's right, down into Tower. Now you've got to get on the power a little bit early, and there's a possible outbreak into Bobby's chicane. But no, Rowland covers the inside, so there's no opportunity for Sugden to go through. But Rowland's mistake now, surely. Bit of contact from Sugden. Look at the damage to the front of the car, and Stanton's coming around the outside.
Yeah, quite a lot of contact. We didn't really see that from the onboard, but a big ding in the front of the car. And radiators just all around the nose there. That might have long-term implications. Now, with the Lister Storm right behind it, the TVR Speed 12 has cleared right off. Fastest on the test day, fastest in qualifying, and with Bobby Verdon-Roe starting it, it doesn't seem to have lost any pace either.
No, he is absolutely flying, and it's magnificent to watch these big cars around Castle Combe. The first time that they visited this track in Wiltshire. Bobby Verdon-Roe's loving it. Look at him. We're on board with him coming down to Cap, on the brakes down here, and then through this tricky right-hander. Again, you've got to get the power on early onto the next long straight section towards Quarry.
Well, Bobby knows the track really well. He's raced here many times in the TVR Tuscan Challenge and has clearly got everything well sorted out. He needs points, though, because the Viper and the Lister have the race wins between them up until last time out, and the TVR is struggling for points. Well, looks as the Viper is struggling for grip here as well. The Lister pretty well balanced, though, Ben.
Yeah, it looks good, but what cars bumps, Martin? You can really see them working over the bumps, and that's a feature of this Castle Combe track.
Well, the Porsches also look very softly sprung. Right, Barth now, and we'll move for the lead of GTO on Matt Turner. Well, Turner hugging the inside line. Perfect defensive stuff, Ben, but will he pay the penalty on the outside?
He may well do. Look at this. Rob Barth's had a great exit from Quarry. Now, that gives him the inside line into the S's. Perfectly set up. Is he going to do it? Yes. Makes it look very easy, in fact, and that was all as a result of get of Quarry well.
Had to kick up the dust on the inside as he made the first apex by about a car's width on the grass. Now Kelvin Burt, third in the GTO class. Similar car, of course, to the Porsche right ahead of him. And to recover some form after he and Marino were both comprehensively outrun in qualifying. Most unusual.
Yes, outrun by the TVRs, but different conditions. Look at this. Through Bobby, the curves a little bit. Now, has he got a run on as they come down towards Camp? We've seen some outbreaking chances here, but I don't think he's quite close enough to go for it. Has a little look, but that wasn't a serious one. And now, as he gets on the power, he may well try to make the move stick as they go to Quarry.
Look at the way that the TVR is starting to pull away from these two as it is in the lead of the GT field. But we saw from the onboard, everything looked very confident with Kelvin Burt. You could see Turner's car really jumping and bouncing around. And looks as though Kelvin again looking at Quarry to get a tight run on the inside line.
Yes, Matt Turner takes that slightly strange line into Quarry, and he's losing out on the exit as a result. Kelvin took advantage of that and slipped through.
So Kelvin Burt moves up to second. Tim Sugden under pressure here. This is for fifth in the class. Sean Valve looking inside at Camp Corner. Shouting at him over the pit wall, the Paragon team, and to good effect. He takes fifth place. That's eighth place overall.
Well done, Sean, buddy, well done. Get your head down and get away from him.
Let's take a look at the TVR through Folly. Very, very fast section, up to about 160 miles an hour. Look at the sparks coming up from underneath. That is where it hits the bigger bumps.
Scary stuff, but it looks as though Bobby Burton-Rowe is well in control here. Now the question will be how quickly he can knife his way through the back markers. Camp Corner again, despite his speed and power, takes a tighter line. That's bigger tyres, better dynamics. Starting to work his way through the Marcus Mantis, but he will have to be careful. He's the first of the leaders that they'll have negotiated.
Naughty boy flags being handed out to Rob Bath and Jonathan Rowland. Now we're on board here with Rob Bath, coming towards Camp Corner, up behind the new Lotus of Nick May and Andrew Davis. Trying to get through at Camp Corner. It's all a little bit tight through there, but he's got past the Lotus safely, and he's got Kelvin Burt right behind him. Look at this. This is the battle for the GTO class lead.
Well, Kelvin's really used the back markers to his advantage there. They were holding up the Tuscanaar, no about it. On the brakes is Bath. Kelvin Bink is down behind him, and good racing line there, defensive use of the road, not hard up against the grass, so he's got some speed on the exit. I think that's where Matt Turner was going wrong. Now, can Kelvin Burt get better drive out of this tight chicane? With the engine hanging out, he should have better traction.
Meanwhile, down in the Martin Short, keeping an eye on things as Rob Bath has that GTO class lead, and we've got some pit stops happening.
Well, very busy indeed. In comes the Viper. Right behind it was the Lister Storm. Looks as though they were a little bit taken by surprise. Out gets Dave Warnock, in gets Mike Jordan from the car that was in third place. The Viper, of course, Tim Harvey will take over, was in second, ready to go. Off goes Tim. Now a race in the pit lane and a slow change from the Lister team. The usual, they're having trouble with the belts. The Viper does get out, but a long way ahead.
Oh, that's disappointing indeed for the Lister Storm, and Lawrence Pierce will be furious after that slow stop.
Gavin Pickering's Porsche hour. Rob Schill won't get a drive this weekend either. Rob will in replay going past Gavin Pickering. Looks as though Gavin just lost it because he was distracted by the Viper.
Yes, not a particularly hard impact, but it takes him out. Meanwhile, Martin Short demonstrates his patent way of keeping a cool head.
I bet it's a lot wetter than that when he sweated into it during the stint, and he might well be, because he's for Jeeping 14 here, and that of Kelvin Burt and Marino Franchitti. The Bath still holding on to this advantage, and it looked as though the Tuscanaar, oh, problems for the Tuscanaar. That's a big explosion from under the car. Oh, what dramas, and he's pouring oil onto the car and onto the track. That looks like a major blow-up.
Oh, that is so disappointing. They were looking for their first victory in the GTO class with this new Tuscanaar, and the disappointment of the whole Valley team, you just can't describe it, can you? And poor Martin's not at all.
Tim Harvey in the Viper unlaps himself as the leader comes into the pits. Bobby Burton-Rowe handing over to Michael Caine, and the Tuscanaar as well. Richard Stanton dragged out, Steve Hyde shoved in. Bobby plugging in Michael Caine's radio. Oh, the door on the TVR. Come on, come on, come on. Valuable time is a wasting. Yes, it's locked now and away they go. Bobby will be very upset with that.
The TVRs leave in the same order as they came in, and Kelvin Burt now leads the race.
You hear it miss every now and again. Past here on the straight, especially.
Bobby definitely a bit worried about the engine.
Well, that may play into the hands of Viper driver Harvey. He's chasing Jonathan Rowland in the GT Porsche, and they go past the stricken TVR Rob Bath. So one TVR has already gone out with engine failure. Sounds as though the Speed 12 is a little sick as well.
Charlotte Osborne in the Marcos just leading this little group, and down the inside here comes Tim Harvey. Oh no, he doesn't. Off he goes and into the tyre barrier. Oh dear, that looks like the end of the race for Tim.
It does. Very unusual accident. Tim Harvey made a mistake there, was he? Anyway, the Lister Storm will be the car that it's now from that one, with the Viper out of the race and potentially a problem for the Speed 12. Well, Tim Harvey will be very disappointed with that. He's taken over the car in a strong position. In is Kelvin Burt from second overall, handing over to Marino Franchitti. And this is a bizarre looking pit. What on earth is going on here? Up on the air jacks? And they're saying no. And it is. It's damaged at the front. They've lost water from the radiators.
We're not quite at the moment. We've got some damage to the front radiator. We just can't chance it. It's going to lose the water and boil.
And then, of course, blow the engine. Well, Marino Franchitti jumping off, not at all happy with that. Amanda's with Bobby.
Bobby, well, it was hot out there.
It was fairly warm, to say the least, but I sort of took it relatively easy. Right, I mean relatively, to sort of help save the tyres. I could see I was pulling away. But then got a slight misfire. Safety car, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I could scream.
Now, this does seem that you are jinxed when you have a good strong lead at a safety car out.
Yeah, you could say that. Well, there we go. We had a 28-second lead and we don't anymore. And obviously, if this misfire gets worse, we're in trouble.
Thanks, Bobby.
Okay.
Wow, tough break, Ben, and here's why.
Tim Harvey coming down, trying to lap. Oh, and he hit Charlotte Osborne's Marcos, and that looked like pure and simple from Tim. He thought he was further ahead than he was and took himself out with that collision.
Safety car not ready to go racing. Oh, no, he's continuing round. He's missed the entry to the pit lane. Oh, dear. Away he goes. I think they are going green this time. Certainly looks as though Michael Caine's not going to chance it. He's got his foot down. Now, how far back in the queue the Lister Storm is? Oh, about 10 cars. And then half of them GTO front runners. It's just going to be a big pressure job for Mike Jordan to get through them all.
Well, he knows that he can't afford to waste time here, and he's getting past as many as possible. Watch him up into Quarry. He's right behind Steve Hyde there and squeezing past the Tuscanar.
Yeah. Oh, taking no prisoners at all. Michael Caine leading. Shane Lynch in the Marcus, 3 laps down. Paul Matfield in the blue and white Porsche. He's 2 laps down in 8th place. Robert Ross in the Lotus. And then Mark Sumter, then the Lister and the Tuscanar. The Tuscanar is in 4th place overall, but still being lapped by the leader.
Mike Jordan's really cutting his way through these cars. Now let's watch down towards Tower. He takes Paul Matfield, gets past Shane Lindley into Tower Court. Look at the Lotus all over the place in front of him, and he's still trying to sort it out. Wow, that went on for ages, and finally it does get sorted out.
Mother and father of all tank slappers, and you heard how much he backed off the throttle, hard on the brakes, saying, no, make your mind up. Let's have a look again from the outside. Lotus just getting on too much power. And there it goes.
Yeah, Robert Ross, that was, and he just got a bit too carried away, and thankfully it didn't take out the Lister.
Well, we're laughing, but that Ben could have been such a dramatic moment. The Lister could have been knocked off the track through no fault of its own.
Absolutely. Well, back with the battle, and Sumter, the reigning champion, leading Steve Hyde. Is the battle in the GTO class. Here comes Steve. Oh, nearly got down the inside into Tower.
I thought we were up for contact there. That was very close indeed, and I think Steve Hyde just reined it back. TVR teammate, if you like, Bobby Verden-Rowe, watching for the progress of the Speed 12. Michael Caine has now been caught by Mike Jordan, and the two ex-TVR Tuscan champions battling with each other under braking as they come to Quarry.
4 times this year, TVR have lost a healthy lead due to the safety car. Only once have they held on to take the win, last time out at Rockingham.
Well, tough brakes for the TVR. Oh, and Neil Woodford goes off. So too does Godfrey Jones, sharing the Porsche with twin brother David. And Ferrari, as though it may be stationary for a while. Godfrey Ross is back on. The GTO battle once more. Sumter with Hyde now behind him, looking to the inside line. Great move by Steve Hyde. Took the bull by the horns there into Tower.
Well, Amanda is with Steve's teammate in the pits, Richard Stanton.
Well, looks like it's all coming together.
It is, yeah. So I'm a bit speechless, yeah.
Think it was ever going to be like this?
No. No. I'll have a chat to you in a minute when he finishes.
There is the sound of chickens not being counted before they're hatched. And probably a good thing too, bearing in mind what's happening in the lead battle as well. Could be a double top for Blackpool manufacturer TVR, but the Lister team have other thoughts. The crew watching as they go across the line, and Mike Jordan closer than ever. He looks like he's lining up Michael Caine this time as they come up to Quarry. He's inside him, he's got him. Jordan takes the lead for the Lister Storm team. Happy with that.
Lawrence?
Don't do that. We don't do that. Excuse me.
You don't do what, Lawrence?
Shout. Only I shout. Language, Timothy. Well, Ben, let's have a look at what they were shouting about.
Jordan on board with him as he made the move on Michael Caine. Caine came over a little bit and then left the door open, and it's tricky up here. It's so fast on the bumps. Mike Jordan was very brave to go down the inside there. Impressive stuff to take the lead.
Yes, I think Lawrence Pierce will be very pleased indeed with that, and he should be. The Lister on its way to a 4th victory this year. 2 second places and a third as well. Fast, consistent, it's a winning car and a winning combination. Mike Jordan out of camp corner for the final time, and the checkered flag awaits him.
Great stuff, but second place for the Speed 12 TVR. But good news for TVR, the Tuscan are winning in the GTO class. The first time Porsches haven't won that class this year.
Another grand day out for Lister and for the crowd. Perfect sunshine, great racing, victory for the Lister. TVR will be disappointed with second for the Speed 12, but delighted with GTO victory in third place for the Tuscan R, ahead of the swarm of... But the man of the match, probably Mike Jordan.
In mid-race then, that was a pace.
Car driver.
In GTO, Burton Franchitti still lead the standings, but all the Porsches are watching out for Richard Stanton and Steve High in that TVR Tuscan.
Agnelli later on. Track temperature around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very, very hot indeed. Safety car is on track at the moment. It's got off. Of course, it's always a rolling start here. We're waiting for the green flag so the starter can get us underway here. Sears, Boyd, Audis 1 and 2 for now. We've